So in the World Wide Web mining, so we know that web is huge. You might be aware that the billion of pages are being added every now and then. So overall size of web is very huge. With the, you might be aware that even in the Twitter, you may get around more than 10 millions of tweets in a day. So there are so many services like news, advertisements, consumer information, and all those information, and so they provide, and some information which is not visible like the hyperlink information, and some information like access and uses information, the way you are using it. So there is so much information on the World Wide Web, and data is not structured. So data is in different format. Even the multimedia data is there, textual data is there, audio is there. So it is a rich source of data mining. So main challenge is very huge. For to have any data warehousing, we cannot do an data warehousing or data mining directly, and it is very complex and heterogeneous. So there are no standards and structures. Every now and then the World Wide Web standards keeps on changing. We know that it is not growing linearly, it is growing exponentially. So this is keeps on growing. So the number of pages, so they keep on growing. So there is broad diversity of user communities. And the interesting part is the 99% of web information is useless to the 99% of web users. So one user is only focused on one particular thing. So we have to find the high quality web pages. So that's what you want from your search engine. Now all the web search engines. So we all know the popular one is the Google one. So they are index based. So they search the web, like Google's web crawlers. They keep on searching the web. And even if you have created a new page, you can find out that in how many days Google is able to find up your new page. So they keep on indexing it. So they build and store a huge keyword based indices. So you, for a popular news websites, so people usually see that how fast is a search engine whenever some natural disaster comes, like say some cyclone comes or some earthquake comes, and how quickly the news flows over the Google, how quickly Google takes you to those news. So it help locate the set of web pages. So they contain using the keyword that you have used for the searching. So the deficiency, a topic of any breadth may easily contain hundreds of thousands of documents. So whether the documents that you like comes in the first 10 or not, so that is the main challenge. So many documents that are highly relevant to a topic may not contain the keywords. So that you might have faced, many of time you might have faced, and especially searching a particular research topic or a particular search paper whenever you are not aware of the title, and finding a good research paper directly on the Google search engine. So it may take a few minutes to get to that paper if you are not aware of the actual keywords. So that may happen. So whenever we search, we also need to know the web access patterns. So why this is important? Because let's say someone is searching for atomic structure. Now, let's say if student in the 8th standard, or let's say in the school, search for this atomic structure, then result must be shown different from the person who is doing MSc in the, let's say, physics or chemistry. So let's say two person, one is doing MSc in the physics or chemistry and another is the 9th standard student. Both are giving the same keyword. So you must give them the different results, because what they're actually looking is the different things rather than the basics of atomic structures. So that's why from this we need to know the profile of the user, so who is actually searching it. And then there are different web structures and regularity and dynamics of web contents, the way these are changing. So these are actually creating problems. We know that there is abundance problem, limited coverage, even though we believe that Google covers everything, but there are many hidden web sources which Google couldn't crawl, but because the people have not allowed Google to run their crawler on their particular server. And any data in the DBMS, which is actually outcome whenever there is a JavaScript used or some query is used. So Google cannot reach to those DBMS. So Google can reach only to those things which are made public in the servers. The limited query interface. Google has given you a query interface which is based on keyword oriented, and that's what Google wants. Even though there is advanced interface in the Google, but Google intentionally made it complex so that most of the people give only keyword oriented interface only. Limited customization, as though it seems, but Google try to do it at their level. They do not allow user to customize the results at the client end. They do not want user to do any customization on the client end, but Google wants to learn the patterns and want to do customization themselves. So now look at the web mining taxonomy. So what actually we need to do in the web mining? So one is the web content mining. So whatever contents are there. So here you are looking the actual contents and want to know that what is there, and based on that you want to find the results. So whatever Google is doing is a web content mining. So here Google is looking inside the page to mine the contents, and sometimes we do the search result mining. For example, in one of the projects that we did in UIT was we were doing the search result mining. So in that project, what we were doing is we have taken a data. We want to do search on all the universities in the USA. As we know that in USA there are more than 1100 universities. So to find out all the universities and their web pages, so we use a Google, and from the Google search results we started our mining. So we access the pages of all the universities and crawl all the pages, and then extract certain interesting patterns based on, let's say we created a database that with the university name, the type of courses they offer, type of fee structures, and their the patterns and the number of students in them. So we did mining of all the 1100 universities, but our starting point was a Google search results. So we have not actually gone to their actual web pages. So what we have done is we searched the results, and based on the search results we did the mining. So so this is called the web search result mining. Then on one end is the web usage mining. So this we usually keep on doing even in the UIT. So whenever you are using the Wi-Fi, so all the requests in the UIT are going through our proxy server. So with user ID, your user requests are being stored here. So what we did is we capture all that data, and then we try to manage the cache well. So managing the cache is, so if you are, let's say you open a web page, and if it is already available in the cache, then we need not to go to the actual server. We will provide that page from the cache only. So like many people in the morning, they open the Gmail page. So we always keep that in cache. So whatever a particular user is doing in the internet, so not only in UIT, so all the internet service providers. So if you are currently using a services of Airtel or Jio, so your internet service providers, so they are mining your data. So they are actually doing these pattern tracking. So they are also storing everything, whatever you're doing. So there is a usual saying that, so if you think that they are not doing, then you are foolish. And if they are not doing this, then they are foolish. So actually all the Jio, Airtel, all those service providers, so they keep on doing this. So whatever you are searching, whatever you are doing on the internet, so they use that data to customize their cache. Like in the UIT, we did a project to customize the cache to reduce the web access in the morning. So this kind of project that we have done, and we have made available this data to the users or the students who want to actually do the web usage mining. But the most important is the web structure mining. So this is where the Google excelled in the 1997. So we will see that what are these in detail now. So in the web page content mining, it started in the major search in the 1996. So there are many systems like WebOQL, Ahoy, Showbot. So they actually go to the page and summarize it. And even nowadays, some apps so which summarizes the news for you, or sometimes there are services which changes the web page. So even we did a project where whatever the web page when you want to open in the browsers, so it actually summarizes the page and shows you the very small content in a single page. For example, you want to open a pgu.ac.in, and if it crawl all the information in the pgu.ac.in and extract that information and summarize and give you in one page, so that kind of mining can be done in the web page content mining. Then search result mining, that we have already discussed. So clustering the search results. So the news results which Google does is the clustering the search results. Then comes the web structure mining. So today we will discuss the page rank algorithm as well, and how this all started and what is the main essence of the page rank algorithm which Google has proposed in the 1998. And then there were many generalization concepts which are used to put the web structure at the multi-level data sets. Then we have the web usage mining. As I told you, the mining of the web log. So this is the community search engines, or the at community level we want to know how people are mining or how people are accessing, or how to stop the viral news in a particular community. So in all those cases, this general access pattern tracking is done, and all the intelligence agencies, they keep on doing on your data. Then customized usage tracking. So all the adaptive sites. So there are many adaptive sites. Whenever you open them, so you open any news sites, especially the news sites of, let's say, CNN.com or BBC.com. So if you are in India, if you open that site, you will see that all the news, even if you are opening for the first time, so they will know your location and give you news related to Indians in the UK or the Indian news. So they customize their page based on their location, or if you are a regular user, if you are interested in a particular sport, let's say you are interested in cricket, so they will give you information about that sport only. So this type of customized usage tracking is always there. So now we will go into detail of web structure mining. So now what we want to do is web structure. So what is web structure? So whatever, when you open a web page, whatever contents that you are visualizing, behind those web contents, we know that, so there are anchor text. So these are the hyperlinks, so which are linking your web page to the other web pages. So this structure that we want to mine, that how these pages are linked to each other. So we want to know the two things. So first thing is the iterative pages. We want to retrieve pages that are not only relevant, so but also of high quality. So in the web, if there are billion of pages, you want to know that what are the iterative web pages, what are the good pages on the web. So from the hyperlinks, you can infer the notion of iterative. So web consists not only of pages, but also of hyperlinks that we want to explore. And from that structure, we want to know that whether a page is good enough or not. So this hyperlink structure that we want to exploit. So now problem with the web linkage structure is, whenever you open a page, so not every hyperlink represent an endorsement. We want to say that, so one page, if it is pointing to another page, so the first page is saying that the second page is good enough, or both are linked together. But this is not always true. So there are other reasons that there is hyperlink. Sometimes it is for navigation, but there are many times it is advertisements could be there. And we know that majority of the hyperlinks, so they could be endorsement for the collective opinion. So if you open any web page, let's say on any university web page, so majority of the hyperlinks, so they will endorse the good things. Only very few links which may represent the advertisements. So one authority will seldom have its web page point to the rival authorities. So that is the problem. So from one university, you very rarely see the link to the second university page. And good authoritative pages, the good pages are seldom particularly descriptive. So they are not descriptive sometimes. So they point to something which is descriptive. So that's why we need to find out the hubs. So we create hubs. So these are set of web pages that provides collection of links to the authorities. So the first method which comes or proposed to exploit this was the HITS method, that is hyperlink induced topic search. It was proposed by Klinberg, so whose book is very popular in the algorithms, in 1998. And he just want to find the hubs. So hubs are the collection of pages which are very good, and authorities. So hub always point to some good authorities. Hub always point to the good authorities. So we crawl the full web and we try to find hub and authorities and remove everything else. So then we left with only a directed graph where there are only hubs which are the collection of good pages. So it means that hubs always point to the good authorities. And this now web is not a complex graph but a directed graph. We have removed all those irrelevant information out of that. And this is because we have taken assumption that if document A has hyperlink to document B, then author of document A thinks that document B contains valuable information. And based on that, our full web is divided into either as hub or authority. So web is a collection of prominent sites on a common topic, and authority is a page that link to a collection of authoritative pages on a broad topic. Rest everything we will remove from our web. And this we do by crawling the web again and again. So this is a mutual reinforcing relationship. A good authority is a page that is pointed by many good hubs, while a good hub is a page that points to many good authorities. So like this. So good hub points to many good authorities, and good authority is being pointed out by the many good hubs. So we will finally get this kind of a page, and we know that actual content is in the authorities. In your search results, finally you will get these authorities. And what are those authorities? You need to know the hubs. Good authorities when many good hubs are pointing, and good hub when it is pointing to many good authorities. So this is a vice versa relationship. So that's what we want to get from in this algorithm. So when this algorithm was proposed, it was very popular. So it explored interaction between hubs and authority. It used an index because we create index of hubs and authority. In future, whenever search engine works, it doesn't need to go to web. It just search this index. So we know that many of these pages are relevant. So now our search engine is searching only in the relevant pages. And we know that some of them should contain links to the most prominent authorities. So now we expand the root set into base set. So include all the pages that the root set pages link to and all the pages that link to a page in the root set. So in this way, we create a good hubs into a root set. And further, as our search engine can give some weights, and iteratively we can give weights to some authorities. And now in main algorithm, these weights, how to give these weights were not actually properly defined. And that's where people have come out with the many variations. And one of the variation is the page rank, the Google algorithm. Now the system based on hits. So obviously it outputs a short list of pages of large hub and weights. And the system based on hits algorithm. So we know that Google is of best example, which is based on hits. The Clever is actually developed in the IIT Bombay. So it was developed in the 1998 in IIT Bombay, 1998, 99. So in that period, so it is a algorithm, but it doesn't get as popular as the Google. So the way it started, but both were based on the same hits algorithm. And the difficulties from ignoring the textual context. So when hub contains multiple topics, so obviously we can drift from the actual topic. So hub may point to the many topics. So it is not based on one topic, but authorities are usually of one topic. And we know that in the search engine optimizers, the people who work, so they hijack the topic. So when many pages from a single website point to the same single, so this is what people exploit. So that's why simple having hits algorithm won't work. That's why we need modification. So that's what is being done by the Google. So now we will see the page rank algorithm. So this is what actually they released in the 1998 as open source part. But we know that after that they have modified a lot. So it also mine the hyperlink structures. So Google crawlers keep on crawling the web again and again. So they mine the hyperlink structure and they find out hubs and authorities. So web search result, so they return a rank order. So something which is important is given as one rank. So rank wise they have given. So highly linked pages are more important than the pages with the few links. And then they rank the page. A page has a high rank if the sum of the rank of backlinks is very high. So then the page has a very high rank. So these are the very basic computation parameters. So they calculate the rank of page. To start with the rank of web page U. So for that they want to find out the set of pages which U points to, set of pages that points to U, number of links from U, some normalization factor, because to avoid that one page pointing to 1,000 good pages, another page pointing to the 100 good pages. So now this is not 110 time good. So we need to normalize these factors. So vector of web pages as source of rank. So based on this is very simple formulation. So actually the rank of page actually depends upon what is the rank of all the pages. So rank of all those pages where V changes from BU. So what is BU is that they are pointing to you. So all those pages which are pointing to this, if they are also good, then the rank of U is also good. So V is a set of those pages which are pointing to you. If their rank is good, then rank of U is also good. And then the actual vector of web page as a source of rank. So actual the content base, so actual source of rank. So that we use along with the normalization factor. So this is a very simplistic version that of the page rank computation is shown. So these are actually the we can say the hubs. So the hubs are defined differently in the page rank. So everything is treated same way. And when they first released, so they tested this on the Stanford web-based project. And they did on the 24 billion web pages in the 1998. And they store each URL as a unique integer and each hyperlink as an integer ID. They remove the dangling link by iterative procedures. So they make initial assignment of the ranks using page rank algorithm. And this initial assignment is then now keep on modified iteratively in the page rank method. So every time you open, so that information is also being captured, and every time you click, so iteratively, so their searching keeps on improving. So upon convergence, so they add the dangling links back to the and recompute the ranking. So in this way, whenever they show their results, every time whenever they show, it keeps on improving. So their algorithm was improving. So that's why it gets popular very soon. So Google utilizes now number of factors. The proximity, that how far it is, the anchor text, the what you write in the anchor text. So not only the hyperlink, but whenever you give the anchor text, so what in string is there, So that string is also being captured, and and proximity, that the text around that anchor text, that is also considered in the page rank. So they keep on improving their algorithm, and now it is very complex algorithm considering many parameters. So the main benefit of PageRank are greatest for the underspecified queries. For example, the Stanford University query using PageRank list the university homepage the first, because it points to many good things and many good pages are pointing to that. So that's why so their PageRank algorithm works in the different scenarios. But in the web, we know that they need not to deal only with the HTML pages, but also with the XML of this kind. So XML data was very popular in 2000, and nowadays JSON is very popular. So at that time, they need to go through this one as well. And these are user defined tags. So again, they have to work upon this, that how to get data from this. And there is an additional information about the hierarchy as well. Hierarchy in this information need to be exploited as well. So in the web mining, this is that how we need to exploit from XML, JSON, and other things as well.